Why is it that life is more convenient, but we have less time to actually enjoy it? We are more connected on social media, but are ironically more lonely in real life. We have more degrees and higher levels of education, but less fulfillment and meaning overall. We have more advanced medical technologies, but are sicker than ever. These are the paradoxes of the modern age which have driven us to exhaustion, to feel lost, unmotivated, and burnt out. The modern creature is certainly filled with all kinds of anxieties that drive our primal brains, our monkey minds, crazy. The pressure to get into a good school, to get a good job, to keep up with the relationships and friendships, buy a nice house and car, impress people on social media, and the list goes on. Our monkey brains are not well equipped to handle these modern demands, yet we are expected to be on and super productive all the time. Back when we were hunter-gatherers, our minds were designed to keep us safe. As you all know, this is known as the fight or flight response. But obviously, our world has dramatically changed beyond recognition. Back then, we only had to process a little bit of information, but now we are bombarded with information left and right every second of the day. And although we are no longer threatened by lions that were chasing us in the savannas, we instead have to deal with modern pressures that leave us anxious all the time. The problem is, our monkey mind always makes us think of the worst case scenario, and that often leads to us to spiral downward, feeling anxious and sad. Trust me, I've been there before. I was part of the academic rat race to get into a good college and then a good graduate school and so on. And right now, I'm not in the most ideal situation. I'm actually in the middle of the notorious Shanghai lockdown, which is considered the strictest lockdown in the world. So it's definitely a test of one's sanity. So now we face a key question. How do we manage our monkey mind effectively and get out of the rut that we find ourselves in? In this video, I will talk about a two-step method that you need to learn in order to feel better and improve your situation right away. And stick around until the end for a bonus tip that will accelerate your progress. So let's get right into it. Just a word of caution, if you're feeling depressed, then I suggest that you speak with a professional therapist to help you. Although I studied human development and psychology for graduate school, I'm not a therapist or a psychologist, and what I share here is based only on my personal experiences and observations. The first part of this two-step method is to do nothing and just meditate. Keep in mind, I'm not saying this from the point of view of a guru, but as someone who's still learning myself. To get ourselves out of this rut, we must first learn the art of doing nothing and let our minds and bodies recover and heal. This can mean doing absolutely nothing while lying on your bed or just sitting alone with your thoughts while enjoying a nice cup of tea. As Naval Ravikant, one of my idols, says, time spent undistracted and alone in self-examination, journaling, meditating, resolves the unresolved thoughts and takes us from mentally fat to fit. So let's try to learn to practice mindfulness. Sit down by yourself in silence and learn the patterns of your thoughts. Try to understand what explains those unresolved thoughts that come into your mind. And ask yourself, why am I having this thought? Have I been conditioned in this way by the people around me, by society? Unpack those thoughts one by one. This way you can be more mindful of what's going on in your mind. Next, you can try to offload your thoughts onto a journal. For example, you may use a diary to vent your frustrations or seek an explanation for your restless thoughts, or you may start a gratitude journal to focus your mind on what you're thankful for in your life. You can use this time to
get to know yourself better
and be more attuned with your thoughts and emotions. Try to write down more positive thoughts than negative ones. If you're judging people around you and yourself, the more you'll feel negative. On the other hand, the more you focus on positive things around you, the more optimistic you will become. Before you know it, you will have reprogrammed your mind
to think more positively in your daily life.
After we have recovered and healed from the burnout, the next step is to design a self-improvement plan and take baby steps towards becoming your better self. According to James Clear, the author of the best-selling book Atomic Habits, all big things come from small beginnings. The seed of every habit is a single tiny decision, but as that decision is repeated, a habit sprouts and grows stronger. Likewise, in our plan, we need to set baby goals and take baby steps to achieve them. To make those goals sustainable, we should follow 4 principles laid out in Atomic Habits. Number 1, make it obvious. Number 2, make it attractive. Number 3, make it easy. And number 4, make it satisfying. For example, if I want to start a journaling habit, I can buy a journal and put it on my desk where I can easily see it every day. That would make it obvious. I can write with a nice pen while listening to feel-good music. That makes it attractive. I can ask myself to start with writing a sentence instead of an entire page. That would make it easy. And finally, I'll pair the habit with something I enjoy, like drinking coffee. That's my reward since I love coffee. Focus on actions that will make you feel better and feed your soul. For example, you might consider taking walks in nature, listening to podcasts, learning gardening, or starting a new exercise routine. You can even join group challenges if you think doing so will be fun for you. That way, you can be part of a larger community who's also working hard towards their goals. As you do these activities, make sure you are focusing on self love and self care. The last thing you want to do is to turn these activities into another source of anxiety. Create new positive and healthy memories because these would eventually take over the bad ones and help you stay optimistic. On a basic level, you can learn to smile more, hug more, get more sunlight and vitamin D, talk with supportive friends, and spend more time in nature. Also, make sure your environment is positive and inspiring. We're influenced more by the environment that we are in than motivation or willpower. Willpower can definitely work for a very brief period of time, but rarely in the long term. For example, if you want to avoid sugar, then don't have sugar in the house. The adage, out of sight, out of mind, rings true here. If you want to read more, then set a specific time to sit down every day in a particular cozy space, say a corner of your living room or some other quiet space during that time slot. Repeat that habit 3 to 4 times in 1 week, and pretty soon this will become your new default. But you do have to force yourself to get started in the beginning. Also, you should try to make your physical surroundings nice and pleasurable. For example, tidy up your desk or bedroom, install plants throughout your house to give life to the place, maybe get some candles, but just make sure you don't burn the house down. Or you can get a dog or a cat because they have actually been scientifically proven to reduce anxiety. Next, keep your social circles positive and inspiring. So how do you do this? Follow only social media channels that make you feel good about yourself. If those channels are making you feel bad for whatever reason, then just unfollow them. It's just not worth it. In the offline world, the same principle applies. If people you know are being toxic and bringing you down, then simply cut them out if possible. You deserve better, period. Last but not least, I have a bonus tip for you. When I started applying these tips into my life, I was able to boost my mood right away, even while dealing with the strictest lockdown in the world. So what is this tip, you ask? Dial in your nutrition and fitness. This might seem obvious, but hear me out. What we eat definitely affects our mind. If we're eating junk food with all the sugars and processed ingredients and seed oils and preservatives that shouldn't be going into our bodies in the first place, that will negatively impact our mind and our bodies because of the mind and gut connection, right? So do whatever it takes in order to develop a healthy eating regimen, whether that means like joining the keto challenge or a carnivore challenge or whatever works for you. In terms of exercise, take a walk, go for a run, do some weightlifting, whatever makes you feel good. Once you get used to doing this 3 times a week, you'll feel really good and want to make this a part of your weekly routine. Keep in mind that I'm not a doctor or nutritionist, so I speak only from personal experience. But I can tell you firsthand that when I dialed in my nutrition and fitness, I felt way better about life, and I think that eating right and exercising really changed my life, and that's not an exaggeration. Remember that life is not always filled with roses and rainbows. If we don't get what we want in life at this time, trust that life will work out in some other way, even if it's not obvious to us right now. Think about it. If everything in our lives just went smoothly, we probably would be complacent and not really learn how to truly strive and level up. We might just keep playing it safe in life, which will ultimately hold us back in the end. But if you hit a roadblock, which is normal, just think of it as a new opportunity to recalibrate. It's a chance to fall in love with the world in a different way, with all its exciting possibilities. Recognize that every situation has its good and bad aspects to it, even those who attain the dream lives they thought they wanted. For example, if they're applying for a highly coveted corporate job and they end up getting it, well, they might actually regret that decision if they end up having to sacrifice a lot of time that they otherwise could have spent with their loved ones. Those who get into elite universities, same thing. They may actually feel discouraged from pursuing their dreams than if they had attended a regular university, because chances are their peers will be better than them, so they might just give up on their ambitions more easily. If you're in a rut, it's okay to take some time to be sad and come to terms with your feelings, but once you've rested enough and done enough self-healing, know that you will eventually find the energy and courage to move on and build a new path for your life. Believe it's possible. Pain is only temporary and life will get better. Keep going, my friend. As Viktor Frankl once said, what humans actually need is not a tensionless state, but rather striving and struggling for some goal worthy of us. Thanks for watching. If you like this content, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to see even more content on mindset, habits, and productivity that will help you level up. See you later, friends. Bye.